We're live. Greetings, friends. Welcome to my live stream today. Yes, I am slowly figuring out how to better improve my my stream skills in OBS. Um, I was gonna have some wonderful music, not copyrighted music for live streaming, courtesy of other YouTubers, but my computer is not wanting to do all of this all at once. So I suppose a more silent stream for today. Maybe I'll try to think of something to talk about. So, the premise for this is the first live stream of this series, and the premise is to take these coloring pages from this coloring book that my nephew got me for Christmas. I've scanned them all in already, and I've also started to color some of them in the actual book itself. But what I want to do here is to color them in digitally because some of these are pretty tough to color. I'm thinking this will be one of them to color like in real life because of how much limited space there is and how small some of these details are. So maybe I can find another one of the images to show you that would be a good example of this. Let's see here. If we go, I can just bring up all of these really. Some of these, like this one, I actually have started coloring in my actual book. This one, I don't know yet if it would be good or not for coloring. I'm mostly using like Crayola markers, so they're pretty thick. This one I've started coloring. There's some like this one, for example. So much little detail in here that I would never be able to color that in the actual book without making it like a solid block of color. Here's another one too. Just so many really small details that I would like to color these like independently and not just have all of this be one color. So I thought, you know, that doing it this way could help. And then I can also just kind of color it however I want to. I have been enjoying coloring them in the book using, again, I have two sets of Crayola markers, one like regular set that's a thinner marker, and one set that's the bigger, thicker marker, and those are the bold and bright colors. And then I have a bunch of Stabilo, like the fine liner pens, but I've been using them for this too. The only thing I have to decide right now is the colors that I want to use, because that's the nice thing about using the markers. Well, it's the nice thing and the not nice thing, because I have a palette provided to me already. It's just whatever I have is what I can use. Digitally, I could, create any kind of color combination. So I'm trying to think, should I use this here website that I'm on, coolers.co, my favorite place to get color palettes? Or should I just pick colors and do whatever I feel like? Which I kind of feel like I might do. Ooh, although I like this. Maybe what I'll do is I'll start with this color and then see where it takes me. So let me throw this back over to my other screen. Okay, I'll make a layer here for swatches. I also don't know. Okay, I've got my this brush is your new favorite inker. I've got that on here already, so I may as well just use this this brush to color. At least to start with, to get like a base coat down. I also thought it would be cool because I might be able to get some interesting textures along the way, coloring it digitally like this. Okay, so probably should have just rotated this whole thing, to be honest. You can just change the rotation view and that's pretty good. So I have to think about what do I want to have with this blue color. I don't think I want to do the birds in that blue, but maybe some of these flowers. How many do we have overall? I think there's 5 on each side. So we could definitely, like if I color this one, this one, this one, this one, that one. Wait, did I skip something? Oh, not that one. This one. I was like, it should have worked out that it's every other one. And then I could do a second set of colors for the remaining flowers of that type. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, so let me go in here. And I guess I'll just start coloring. See, this is great because in real life I have to be so precise, and here I might increase my brush size a little bit because these are pretty big images on here. They don't seem that big in real life, but on here they're pretty big. So I can just kind of apply this more evenly throughout. Okay. But I don't want to do everything like a solid color, you know? Like I don't want these flowers to be only this blue. So I also need some kind of shade like these stripes I'd like to color differently, and these kind of circles that are in the center I would also like to color differently than this blue color. I've been really liking the blue-orange combination. Maybe it's because I've been rewatching House. So that might have impacted it. I mean, it's a good color combination anyway. I could include some green. I mean, I'm going to need green anyway behind the flower. I assume that there's a stem here somewhere. Maybe not for the stem for the flower, but still stems happening in the background. So I make it like an interesting. I really like very yellowy greens for this kind of thing. Stems and such. And especially with this blue, I think that would look really cool. So I might try that. Also, I'm pretty bummed about the music. It's like when I had it playing, I was playing it off of a YouTube video. I wonder if I play it from YouTube Music, do they still play it as video? I think they might. Or maybe if I can find somewhere else to play some royalty-free music. Actually, that's a good point. I'm going to check something real quick because I actually think I might be able to do that just in a slightly different way. If I go to the audio library, because here it's just music. It won't be the same music that I was playing, but how about this one? Sounds good so far. That way there's a little something for you to listen to if I'm not talking. Okay. I think I am going to pick my other colors here for the flower first, and then I'll come back to this layer. So I'll use them as clipping masks. I'll come back to this layer and color in the rest of the blue flowers once I have one of them done. And then I'll probably just go through color in all of the flowers as the base, the blue flowers base, and then go back and do each individual part, the stripes, then the center. For the stripes, I kind of am feeling like a darker blue, like maybe something more like this. And should I just, how should I arrange my swatches? I kind of want to just drag it down here since that's kind of where I'm at in my file right now. So let me go with that first. And I'm just gonna label my layers, and I'll make one for the center also. Okay, so I know like this is definitely one, I want that to be a stripe that I color in with this color. It's so great to be able to like zoom in and I don't have to hunch over my coloring book. 10 out of 10. Would recommend not hunching over a coloring book. And I can easily erase things too. For when I color out of the line. But maybe I shouldn't, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't worry about it so much. It feels okay to not worry about it so much when I am coloring with markers. Because then it's like, there's literally nothing I can do about it after it's done. But on here I can fix it. I can undo it. So maybe I should. Maybe that would be a good thing. It's making me a little bit miss the days that I streamed myself working in After Effects. And just like making something. That's always really fun. Just making something. And not really, one of my favorite ones to do was the electric horse animation where I had no clue what to make. I just made something and I really liked the way that it came out. Okay, now this is a weird situation here. Okay, I'm gonna start to denote which ones I want to color in, like that and this and this. So this and this and that. I guess these two. But then for this situation, like in theory it should be this one and this one and that one, I guess. Yeah, it works. It works out. I'm curious to see. I suspect that with most of these pages, any of these elements that are repeated, like this flower, 10 of these flowers especially, maybe there's some variations. Like there might be, I don't know, 3 different ones, for example. 2 different ones. But then they just are like duplicated throughout the image. I've noticed that with some of the other pages that I've been coloring. IRL. Out here in the real world, when I've been coloring them, I've noticed, hey, that's the exact same thing over and over again. Like, these 2 flowers are the same, for sure. Yeah, that one I can tell, same. This one, I suspect, same. They're just like all rotated around, you know? I have a feeling they're all, yeah, exactly the same flower. Just rotated and moved, obviously. Scaled up, scaled down, whatever. It makes sense because you'd make a coloring page a lot quicker doing it that way. And this was not an expensive coloring book by any means. So they probably wanted to create the images as quickly as they could. Well, whoever made this one, thank you. I'm hoping to post some videos on my TikTok working on these. But my plan is also to always be doing the live streams. Anyway, so you could always catch me coloring over here. How interesting will it be? I don't know. But it's just a thought. I'm just trying to do more things with my art channel, but without me having to do more in general. So these coloring pages are nice because I don't have to create anything myself, like a whole huge project or big idea. And it's something that I could easily live stream and sit here and talk while I'm doing it and not like take forever to make something or get distracted or stuff like that, because it's just coloring, so I can easily talk and color at the same time. When it's other things that I have to like think more about, focus on, that gets tough, you know? It gets tough. Or I don't know, sometimes it's just I'm working on too many other things. And this is also something hopefully decent that I can stream and not kill my computer. Fingers crossed. Well, anyway. I have to say I'm a little concerned about the stream health because it looks like it's buffering. But maybe not. Maybe maybe that's just my computer. Anyway, I'll continue. I'm probably not going to stream for too long today anyway. This is like a test run. Just to see how well it goes for me. So far it's going pretty good for me. I don't know about for YouTube. For YouTube it seems questionable. Okay, I like this combination already. I'm gonna I kind of want to color the stem in the background before I do anything else, because I think it would be really good for me to get the right green here. Like, I kind of want something more like this. Maybe a little more maybe a little darker is what I needed. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so I'll just do this little part right here that connects. All right. It's still very much buffering on my side, so I don't know if that's good or bad. YouTube hasn't given me any kind of notification about it. So hopefully that means it's okay. Oh yeah, see now it's coming up just fine on my screen. So it must have been something weird that happened. At least I think it's coming up fine. It looks okay. Yeah. All right. I think this green was a good choice. But of course I would think that because I picked it. I mean, like I was saying, when you can pick like literally any color, it's just so much freedom, man. So much freedom. Then I should hope that my colors look good together, especially when I swatch them on the other layer before I even use them over here. Because the problem that I found with my markers and pens and stuff, first is that for as many of them as I have across the different types, a lot of them are very close to one another. That there's, especially when you've got a lot of different elements that are up against each other, a lot of them are practically indistinguishable. So it does get to be, okay, I think I'm trying to figure out what was happening here. I think there's two that are coming through, and one of them's going over this way, and the other one's going over this way. When you get the colors next to each other, then there's not really much difference between them. Or the other thing I've had happen is that they just don't look good next to each other, even if there is enough of a difference to like be able to tell them apart. Sometimes they just do not look good next to each other, and then I'm like, I hate this. Even colors that you would think would look okay next to each other, like a blue and a green, but it kind of depends on what kind of blue or what kind of green it is. Because if the green is too blue and the blue is also too blue, then sometimes it doesn't really work very well. This, I'm liking it so far. Now I think like a yellowy orange would look good for the centerpiece here. Maybe something like that where it really is more in between the two. Let's try it. What's the worst that could happen? I hate it. Been there, done that. I think it might be a little too, I don't know. I think it'll be fine for now, and probably what I would want to do after this anyway, because here's the other nice thing about doing this digitally, so I don't have to worry about how things overlap, overlay, or the materials and the paper. Yeah, it's a little too yellow right now. But I think what I'd like to do anyway, once I get all these base colors down, I can go back in and add more layers of shadow and everything. So probably what I would do is take a darker orange like this, and then I can just kind of put it on top and maybe even like blend it in. Use my smudge tool or something. I probably wouldn't do it like that quite, but something along those lines, so that I'm just gonna erase that. Or should I? Maybe I'll add this orange to the swatches. Just something that gives it a little more depth. Like I'll probably also add in an even darker blue, and yeah, give it some shadow. Okay, but so far I pretty much like how this has come out already. So I'm gonna start coloring in the rest of the flowers. I'm just gonna do the base blue first for all of the rest of the flowers that will be blue. Then the other flowers, I don't know. I don't know what color I'll do those flowers. I think that after I finish these ones, I might want to figure out for the birds. Kind of feel like the birds could look cool with orange or pink or something. So once I know what color, because I think the flowers, some of the flowers was a good place to start. Then that's a big focus in the image. And then the next big focus, I think, should be the birds. So I want to do some of the flowers and then the birds. And once I know what the birds look like, that can help me determine the second set of colors for the other flowers, the remaining flowers. So I don't want them all to be the same. I could do like a flipped version of the colors that I've used for these flowers. So instead of having a blue base, the lighter blue base probably would have a yellow base, and the stripes would be the orange, and then the center would be this blue and the other blue as like a shadow situation. I think that could work, but it's really going to depend on what I end up going for with the bird, because I'd rather not leave I'd rather leave the options more open for the bird than for these second set of flowers, because I have this first color palette that I can just use and flip so that I know the colors work with the bird, but there's enough variety so it's not the exact same flower each and every time, just every other time. Whereas if I pick totally different colors for the flowers now compared to these ones, then I'm kind of beholden to that when it comes to what I can use for the bird that will help the bird stand out and make the birds unique from the flowers. So like I said, I'd rather have more options for what I can do with the birds, and then either have that be what limits my options for the other flowers. Okay, well now I can only work with these colors because it doesn't really fit well with the bird, and maybe there's something new I could do, or if it is just not working with a different color palette, I can just reuse this color palette and apply it in a different way. So that's what I'll do. But first I gotta finish coloring these flowers in. All I have to do, that's another nice thing with this at least. I mean, it is coloring, so I don't want to do all of it this way of just coloring the outline and then doing the select tool and filling it in. That takes some of the fun out of the coloring, I think. But for bigger areas like this where I'm just applying the full base color to the whole thing and using it as a clipping mask, then I think to me that seems fine to do it this way. And then when I go in and color in the stripes and the center part, those parts I can keep coloring with just the brush pen. The brush tool, sure. But for now, I'll just, kind of color the outlines and then fill it in that way. It's also funny to me how putting the green behind the blue and this other blue in front of it really makes it feel, I think it might be the green that's mostly doing it. No, actually, I think it is the blue. The darker blue kind of pulls the green out of the color and makes it look less green than it does with it on there. That could be an interesting thing too, actually, to have less of a blue and more of a darker, like this kind of color. No. Actually, I take that back. It's not that interesting. I think I'll stick with exactly the colors that I've already picked. To me, that seems pretty good. Okay, so the other thing I've found is that coloring these pages takes forever. But it's kind of fun, Kind of fun. Like, I could take like 2 hours, especially if I was coloring these with my markers and having to be so precise and color in each thing individually and not be able to do a big splotch like this and then color over top of that. Then it would take me, forever. I could probably spend 2 hours just doing these flowers. Just putting this base down in only the areas that it needs to be, in only the areas that it's going to show up later. And then after that, having it be the stripes and the center, coloring all of those in as well. Yeah, I probably could spend 2 hours just doing all of those. And that's like one small part of this overall page. So it's a great activity if you just, need something to do. That doesn't require too much, not effort, but focus, I guess. Too much thinking. It requires some thinking, in my experience. If I want the colors to come out a certain way, then I have to think about how they work together, what my options are, and how the page is set up as well. Because I often don't like having things that touch each other, especially when they're very different objects. Like this flower and this leaf, I would never want them to be the same color. They're different things. But I also wouldn't want this whole flower to be one color and not have the stripes. Or I wouldn't want the center to be the same color as the stripes. Or I wouldn't want these individual parts of the leaf, like even this section here, I wouldn't want to color that all in the same color. I would want to give different colors to each of these stripes. And that part. Like maybe these two parts would be the same. Maybe I could even color this middle if I wanted it to be like 2 stripes instead of 3. And then I could just have a second color that is both of those stripes. Or I could have 3 separate colors here for those stripes and a 4th color for the outer bands. That's more of how I would color the pages. Because that's what my brain likes. So So having to take the time to think about how those will work together definitely requires some thought. But once you've thought that, then it's just coloring. And then I want to focus and make sure that I'm coloring things correctly. Like I actually use the colors in the right places that I wanted to put them. And trying my best to not go out of the lines. Especially with my markers. But if that's all I'm needing is an activity as such that allows me to do that, then this is pretty good for it. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's do the stripes now. I want to color in the stripes and the centers for the flowers. I don't think I need to do any more of the stems just yet. I could. I have the color for it. But I don't think I'll need to help me with the bird color. I kind of already have an idea for what color to use. At least a general idea for what color to use for the birds. And like when I say what color, I mean like the base color like I have here. So like the body, the main part of the body, what would that be? And maybe the head can be like a slight variation on that. That kind of thing. And there's obviously a lot of little details, so I'll have to think of colors that fit along with the main color. But that's really what my concern is, the main color. At least to start. Maybe I didn't mention it earlier. Maybe I forgot to mention it, or I started mentioning it and distracted myself. But one other thing about using Photoshop for this is I have a whole variety of brushes that I could use. So right now I'm just using a pretty basic ink brush, which helps me get good base coloring, I think. And I really like this brush. It's called Your New Favorite Inker, so it was correct. Ever since I first started using this brush, I think in 2020, I want to say it was when I was doing my Into the Spider-Verse fan art. There was the like 6 characters challenge going around, and so people were supposed to give you 6 random characters that you would draw. I don't remember if it was draw it in your style, or I think so. And I did one of those early on, and then after I had kind of upped my skill a little bit, because I think I did the first one before I did Mermaid. That was my first year of doing Mermaid when I did all Ariel fan art. I think I had done the 6 character challenge first before Mermaid. I can't remember exactly though. I think I did, but either way, definitely after Mermaid, it was more over the summer, I decided to do another one, and I just made my own challenge, meaning I wanted to do some Into the Spider-Verse fan art. So I just took 6 characters from Into the Spider-Verse and worked on those. I think that I did, well, obviously Miles, Gwen, Peter B. Parker. I want to say, I mean, I definitely did Olivia Octavius. I think just as Olivia Octavius and not with her Doc Ock costume on. I think I did Aunt May. And then I don't remember. I can't remember who else I would have done. Maybe, Uncle Aaron? No. Jefferson? It might have been Uncle Aaron. I should look it up. I should look it up and see who was it that I did on this image. I'm not sure how well it came out. You know, like, I feel like now, if I look back at it, I would be like, I could do so much better. Even if I don't know that I could do better right now. But it could be improved, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. I think I ran out of the song. The song finished. Now it's a second song. I think that should be fine. I probably will not stream for too much longer. I would like to get these stripes done though, on the flowers. And the centers, if possible. If I don't mess up my computer. Okay. Let me just see real quick. If I check my social media and see. It was Uncle Aaron. Look at that. It was. You know what? This is actually a lot better than I remembered it. But still not necessarily as good as it could be. Let's zoom in. Miles. No, actually I do like it. I do like the way it came out. Miles and Gwen. Peter B. Parker and his sneezing face, I decided. Olivia Octavius, Uncle Aaron, and Aunt May, who's looking very, very upset. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I mean, like I said, I do feel that it could be improved. But I'm pretty happy with how that came out. So that was a great experience for me to work on that. I can't remember why I started talking about that though. What was my point? Oh, that was, yeah, when I was working on that. I think that was when I first used this brush. Your new favorite inker. And I really liked how clean it is. As much as I want to add texture, oh no, I colored the wrong layer. Wait, have I been doing that this whole time? No, those ones are okay. It's just here. Okay, alright. That's fine. That's not too much to have to redo. I sure took my sweet time coloring all those strokes though. Okay. Anyway, as much as I want to add texture to my drawings, especially having like more textured line art, more textured lines, I don't like it when there's texture. If the brush isn't clean and like most of the time. I do like there's a mechanical pencil brush. These are all the Kyle Webster brushes, by the way. So if you have Photoshop and you go to, well, not this brush menu, in the brush menu, there's like this Get More Brushes option. And that brings you to the Adobe website. I don't know why they don't just include them already inside of Photoshop. But if you have Photoshop, you can go to that, click on that menu option, and it'll take you to the website, and you can download and install the brushes there, and you can pick. There's tons of them. There's like this mega pack, which is where this brush comes from. Just scroll all the way up. There's the mega pack, which includes many different folders here. I think the drawing box is the one that has the mechanical pencil in it. And then there's all these other ones, and he usually has, I'm sure there's gotta be a winter spring set. Maybe there's one out already or coming up for winter. I haven't checked. There's tons of brushes, and there's a lot of different packs, and there's a lot of brushes in those packs. So you'll pretty much never want for brushes again, depending on what you do. They're just, you know, brushes. They're not, I mean, there's some concept ones and stuff that are a little more like stamps, but maybe there's some things you want to draw that are more customized, custom. In which case you may seek out brushes outside of the Kyle Webster brushes, but these I found very helpful overall, and I use them a lot, like pretty much exclusively. I think in a lot of artwork that I've done over the past 2 years since I first learned about these brushes, and definitely in my Music of the Spheres artworks that I've recently finished, and for which I have several videos here on my channel. If you haven't seen those, if you want to check them out. There are videos of me working on the drawings. I did them in sets. I started with, because there's, so I made a booklet in 2020 that I did a piece of art for each of Coldplay's albums, and then I put them together into one booklet. So Parachutes, Rush Blood to the Head, X and Y, Viva La Vida, or Death and All His Friends, Milo Xyloto, Ghost Stories, A Head Full of Dreams, and Everyday Life. At that point, that's all there was. Well, since then, they released Music of the Spheres. And Music of the Spheres has 12 tracks. That's a lot. When I did the album artwork booklet, that was 8 albums, so I did 8 drawings. This time I did one booklet for the whole album, so I did 12 drawings, and actually I did a secret 13th drawing as well, in addition to some extra drawings that I needed just for the actual booklet itself. Things like the cover, which I also did a stream of here again on my YouTube channel. And I made some emoji drawings as well for the emoji title tracks. But 12 main drawings for the 12 tracks that are on the album. This is how I end up drawing on the wrong layer. So what I did when I was working on that project, because 12 was a lot, like I said, 12's a lot, I wanted to make sure that I would work on it and keep focus, and I also wanted to actually make videos about it. And I just had this suspicion that if I had just kept recording as I was going, let it all accumulate, finish the whole booklet, then I would never want to edit the video together, because I would be like, what am I going to do? Condense this all into like 30 seconds? I don't think so. Not even 30 minutes. Man, I did 5 different videos and they're like all 20 to 30 minutes, I'm pretty sure. So I had the idea to actually split them up into chunks, different rounds. So I was like, why don't I do, there's 12 drawings, 12 tracks. Why don't I do like 3 and then make a video and assess how it's going? So I did that and it worked really well. So I kept doing that. So I just did the drawings in chunks of 3. And once I was done, for me it's like the planning and such. As much as I sometimes don't want to stick to a plan, be bound to a specific plan, it really does help me to set a plan beforehand. So after each round was over, while I was working on the video, I did kind of try to think about it even earlier than that. Like when I was first thinking that I should do rounds and not just after each round, but I did, maybe I changed it up through the process. I definitely reassessed it at least every time that I made a video. At the end of the video, would set forth, here is the next round of drawings that I am doing. These drawings. And I think that helped me too. Gives some clear focus, And some of those drawings I was nervous about doing, nervous to start, because I felt like I didn't have a really good idea, or it just seemed like it was going to be a lot of work to make my ideas better. I also, before I started at all, I did thumbnail sketches for each drawing, because that was another thing. I wanted to make sure, I wanted everything to feel cohesive. The album booklet drawings, they're not exactly cohesive because they're all for different eras. They're representing different eras. And so they're unique to those eras. They're not trying to all be the same. There's some similarities in how they were, kind of finalized and put into the art booklet. So like they all have their name on it somewhere, the name of the album, and it's all that's, I think they're all in the same font. Most of them definitely are. So there's stuff like that, but otherwise, like you could look at 2 of the drawings side by side and they really don't share that much in common. So that was a different experience. It was good enough for me to just open up a file and start going. I think I did do some sketches overall. I definitely sketched out my ideas. I think I may have done multiple sketches, like sketches for multiple drawings before just going in, so I don't think it's like I started fresh every single time that I moved to another drawing. It was more like I probably did sketches for a lot of them first, and then went back and started to actually render them out. I think that's how I did that, but I never finished. I never really started editing the video. I did screen record while I was working on those, and I never put it together into anything. That's my point. That's why I did the Music of the Spheres booklet the way I did. With Music of the Spheres, I definitely wanted it to be cohesive because it's for one album. And it's for an album that has a very particular aesthetic. And there's kind of a nice journey throughout that I wanted to have in the book. Not a specific journey that of the album, but something I wanted to feel like a specific journey, because there are kind of, like, especially with Coloratura, I think you do get a sense of that listening to the album. And it's the concept of moving through the spheres, you know? So each one can be unique in some ways. But I liked the idea of being able to see it, you know, roughly see it all laid out first. And then I also used a single color palette across those drawings. It's kind of why I was debating whether or not I wanted to actually pick a set color palette for this, because I did use coolers to pick my palette for the Music of the Spheres drawings. I didn't, I mean, I think I tweaked it a lot on the website and made sure that I got a good variety of colors, which I could have done better. But it's hard when you're only working with 5 colors and you're trying to do a lot. Like, just these flowers alone that I'm coloring on this page, I've already used definitely 3, maybe 4 colors just on the flowers, and then I have a 5th color for the stem. Now imagine that I had to do this whole page just with those 5 colors. I probably could do it. Could color the birds green. That might be interesting. Color their feet like, well, probably orange, but blue could be cool. Maybe do yellow heads, yellow head, green body, orange feet, blue details. I can make it work. I can make it work, and I have 2 versions of the blue. But is it going to be as good as it could be? Who knows? So I didn't necessarily want to limit myself on this. But for the booklet, it made sense. So I was able to see, you know, with doing the thumbnails, make sure that I had an idea that could be carried across the entire booklet. And then to also check my color palette and see, does that work? Can I use these colors in this way? And some of them are very close to the sketches, and definitely like Alien Choir, for example, pretty much exactly what I had pictured as I was drawing the sketch, what I had pictured in my head. So it came out very well compared to what my intentions were. Oops, that's not right. Let me just double check that I'm on the right layer for these other ones. Some of those sketches I really had to work at because they were not... Some of them, just the concept didn't work, especially as a bigger image. Some of them didn't really have much of a concept, and that is what the problem was. some of them were perfect. Some of them didn't require too much and I could just let the brushes do the work. So when it came time in the rounds to get to those ones that the sketches needed a lot of work and I knew it, or the concept, the base concept itself needed a lot of work, and I didn't really have any more ideas, or I didn't feel like I had more ideas, yeah, those ones were tough to get started. But having the, splitting it up into groups like that, the different rounds, was really helpful. I've done that before with a different project where I took this, it was a set of like icons that were all design related. Like I think specifically graphic design related. And I animated those icons. And I did those in rounds as well. I forget how many icons there were in total, like 20 or something. And so I did a few rounds of like 4 or 5 of the icons at once. And same as this, I planned them out. Then animated them. Maybe I had to clean up some of the icon files and like recreate certain parts of the icons. Because a lot of the time if you get icon files that are like SVG or EPS, and because they're just intended to use static, they may have different parts that are merged together into like a single path. Or there might not be strokes on things that look like they're strokes. They might have been outlined so that they are paths with a fill. Closed paths with a fill, and not open path with a stroke. And maybe even a compound path. So sometimes I'd have to like recreate parts of those icons. But then you can just animate them. I have that up on my Behance. That project. It was pretty fun. I should do something like that again. One thing that I found challenging with that, though, which I think is another benefit of having done all of my sketches for the Music of the Spheres booklet first, with the icon animations over time, because I did just split them up into different rounds, and I think I just kind of picked as I was at the beginning of each round, like which ones I would do. And I probably picked ones that I thought were easiest or most fun first. I'm hoping that past me did what I did with this project, with the Music of the Spheres booklet, which was actually to separate it more evenly. So have, not save all the harder ones for last, but just in general, not have a round of all difficult drawings. Include some that were going to be easier for me to finish. So I think I might have done that with the icons, like assess and see, okay, what are the easier ones? I think I might have even like actually written that out beforehand. Made a list of these are the icons I think will be easiest to animate, and these ones most difficult, and mostly from a conceptual standpoint. Thinking about how to animate them. For the most part, the animations were all pretty, like using similar techniques and such. So it was more about the concepts and thinking about how the motion could relate to what the icon represented. So I think I might have made the list beforehand. Maybe I didn't do it at the very beginning of the project, but I do think I did it at some point. Made a list and separated the icons just into at least what I thought would be more challenging versus easier and stuff. And then I would pick a few from each to do for each round and do it that way. Kind of takes some of the pressure off. But what I would find over time, even if I had separated them, it's not necessarily that I picked which ones I was going to work on first and then started the rounds. So I'm pretty sure I did just kind of each round decide, okay, I'm going to do these however many icons now. And what I found over time, because like I said, a lot of the actual animation itself, pretty repetitive across that project. A lot of the same kinds of animation happening. And so especially as it got toward the end, then I was feeling like, no, I've done that. No, I've done that. I kind of want to do something different, you know. That struggle. What is this layer? Where did that come from? I'm going to use it for the birds. I feel like I added it to... I don't know. I don't know what I added it for. It must have been recent, right? I want more of an orangey, pinkish kind of color for the bird, I think. I like this area. I'm not quite at it. Where it's like a little more ambiguous about whether it's pink or orange. I kind of like that, you know? Yeah, I think that's going to be a good color for me. So let me add it to my swatches real quick. Throw it down over here. And I'm thinking some purple would be nice, but I don't know if it'll be for the flowers or something on the birds. I just want to at least do this part. Should I color the whole bird? Yeah, maybe I should. I'll keep it consistent. So with that icon project, I laid out everything. Beforehand? No, I didn't. That one I did not. And I found it increasingly difficult over time to come up with new concepts and not be too repetitive. I don't know if it would have been any easier if I had planned everything out beforehand to not be repetitive. But either way, it was something I wanted to avoid. That struggle I wanted to avoid when doing the Music of the Spheres booklet. So I did those thumbnail sketches beforehand. And even if they weren't perfect, it at least allowed me to see, okay, I have enough ideas to carry me through this project. And I did. The booklet is on my Patreon, by the way. It's patreon.com/caribouanimation. I think that I have it linked in the About section on my channel here. But if you can see Caribou Animation, you know how to spell that? Then you're golden. It's the name of my channel. And that booklet is available to download for free for everyone. So you don't have to join my Patreon to download it. And the album art booklet that I first did in 2020, that one's also up there. I think that one is pinned. You can only have one pinned post at a time, which kind of sucks. So I might make like a master post at some point that will just kind of link to the other posts. But for now, I just have the first one, the Coldplay album art booklet, pinned. And so you might have to go looking for the Music of the Spheres one. You might have to dig a little deeper for that one, but not too deep. I put it out not that long ago. So this project of mine here, this coloring, would take forever if I do all of these. But I kind of like planned to do all of them, I guess. I mean, I scanned all the pages in. I have all of the Photoshop documents set up. That's what I'm saying. The planning really helps me. I set up all the Photoshop documents for this. When I was doing the Music of the Spheres booklet, I did that as well. Just having the base Photoshop file that will have like, okay, here's your sketch layer. Here's your layer for the swatches. And with the Music of the Spheres project, I was able to take my thumbnail sketches and, you know, scale them up, lower the opacity, and set them as a reference underneath everything. And any other stuff that I needed for that. Any other kind of layers that I would need for each project. General stuff like I'm talking about, like the swatches layer, background layer. All of that stuff I just put into one document and then just keep saving it out, saving as. And you just gotta name the file. In that case, I did it the number and the name of the track that piece was for. Did I run through a second song on here? Oh my god, I did. So I've been streaming for over an hour. This is what I'm talking about. And all I got done was these flowers and the bird. I mean, the bird's not done, but started. And later, the nice thing about this, later if I decide I don't like it, can go back and change it. The only thing I don't like is the way, right now, is the way this, the lines are interacting. Ooh, that could be cool. I have thought about redoing the lines for these too. So maybe I'll try that. And then maybe that could be the purple. Purple line art. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Anyway. Planning things out is very helpful. When I do Mermaid, I also make a Photoshop document for every day, and I label it with the number of the day and the prompts. So that way I don't ever have to look things up or recreate something from scratch. I found that to be very helpful in doing stuff like this. So I set this up that way too. I have all the pages scanned in, and I've made Photoshop documents with every single one. They don't have the swatches layer. That was an oversight, but the lines, and I, set it all up so that way, because here's the lines normally. Oh, is this also set to darken? Never mind. I set everything up ahead of time, so that I can just open it and go. Very motivating. if you struggle with motivation, then that's something I recommend, is try to set things up so that you don't have to be motivated. You just have to open it and do something, you know? That for me is very helpful. So that's it for today. I don't know. I know I should be planning. I just did all this talk about planning. This is kind of like a whenever type of stream. So maybe I could do some more tomorrow. Maybe. I do my game streams on Fridays and Saturdays and Tuesdays over on Twitch. So I probably won't be streaming on those days. But every now and then when I have an hour or so that I want to just kind of do some coloring, then I'll stream it. Maybe they won't all be as exciting as this one. And now that I know I can use the audio library to play the music, that'll be great. So you might not always see me on the streams or anything, but I'll be here coloring. And I think I want to reserve the coloring for the live streams. So I won't do anything in between, because that's kind of the point. If I wanted to do coloring on my own time, I'll color in the physical book, which I'll show you maybe next time. I have it over there, but I don't feel like going to reach it, and I really need to end this stream now. Anyway, I gotta go make my dinner and whatnot. Finish the day. But thanks for joining me here. I hope it's been entertaining. Maybe you've been able to work on your own stuff while I've been coloring and blabbing. And hope you have a good evening wherever you are. Good night, good day, whatever it is for you. Whatever you have a good one. And I will see you all next time. Peace out. I should have set this up beforehand. I have to end the stream. But here I am, having to move everything and then still piecing out. Okay, peace out.